Afternoon Blues. Everton have beaten Brentford by a goal to nil. I'm your host, Stevie Grant. I'm delighted to be joined by Chris, who is over in America.
Hello.
Chris, you watched the game as well. Absolutely delighted with this 3 points.
Yeah, just trying to pick my heart up off the floor real quick. They certainly don't ever make it easy, do they? Especially given the first half. I tweeted at halftime. We've seen this movie before. I hope these missed chances don't come back to haunt us. Not to mention this phantom VAR changing rules every week type deal, which I still can't get over. But nonetheless, it ended up working out. So very, very good day. I'm buzzing still.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm actually just based just outside Brentford right now, and well, I don't want to be walking down the street. I think they were a little
Right.
bit hard done by and probably felt that they could have come away here with at least a point. But look, we take it and we move up to 15th. So, it's a pretty important day in Everton's survival task, and it has been a real uphill battle. It felt like about 150 minutes, never mind 90 minutes. But you know what can we say? We can say that we've come away with a vital 3 points. At the end of the day, that's all that matters, as there's lots to go through. I'm going to cross over to Jeff, who's also got an initial reaction. Jeff, we're making a bit of a habit of this.
Yeah. Am I actually coming through properly this time?
Oh yeah,
Is it working?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Right. Okay. Nice one. Sorry, my internet problems as normal. Yeah, that was stressful as hell. The second half was horrible, absolutely horrible. Like we didn't get out of the changing rooms, and to be honest, the fact that we won is a shock in the end because they totally dominated the second half. Pickford made it stop. There was some good tackling and stuff like that, and I think they lacked a clinical edge today that they normally have. So I think they will probably feel aggrieved that they didn't get something from this game. But I'll take it. I'll take it all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. Dwight McNeil, brilliant. That first half, we were really good, and we probably could have been 2 or 3 up at half time, but the second half was just literally just torture. It was absolute torture. I think that we probably lost a few Evertonians to heart attacks. Yeah, we probably lost a few Blues during the second half just to, aneurysms and stress, because it was horrendous. It was horrendous. But yeah,
Well, we'll unpick some of that. It seemed like a long time ago that Dwight McNeil put Everton ahead. Let's start with the start. The team news was pretty much what we expected, but Michael Keane was in there, and what we saw was that Everton pretty much were as you were, but that bright start, Chris, it was sensational, really. It really got the crowd behind the Blues.
Yeah, it did. And I wrote down kind of a few minute-by-minute notes, and all I've got by the first minute is just wow, because that's what it was. It kind of comes out of nowhere. You have on the right side, and Woolly makes a great pass. Decoy finds McNeil in space, and it's just a class finish, and that's the thing. You put it on net, good things can happen sometimes, and that's exactly what it was. But man, in the bad weather and everything, get the crowd up right away. That's kind of what we needed, especially after the first, the last couple of matches. I know one of them was a win against Leeds, but it was still not the best start, if you like. Villa was a little bit better, but just couldn't finish. And so, yeah, that was absolutely dreamland in the first minute.
Yeah, and for Blues that didn't watch it, it was an absolute quality finish. McNeil finds space just on the left edge of the penalty box and drills it into the park end, and it was the perfect start. It was less than a minute in, and what we saw was Everton were going after a second goal, and maybe we're looking at the big turning point in the match. It could have been so much easier if the goal for Demarai Gray had been given, but ended up chasing shadows for the second half. Let's go to that controversial decision. Was it handball? Was it not? It seemed to me that it hit his chest. I mean, did either of you actually see it?
I saw it live. I saw all the replays. I'm still trying to figure out where. I'm so tired of hearing the phrase clear and obvious. It means nothing. because there's no angle that's going to show clear and obvious. None. You can't convince me of that. Yes, you can find a camera angle that's going to have it maybe looking like it hits his arm, maybe looking like it hits his chest, whatever the case. It's called a goal in the pitch. Show me where it's clear and obvious that it's not. It's inexplicable. And whether we get another apology or not, whatever. But it just you can't tell me that goal should have been disallowed. And again, you don't want to dwell on it in the second half. You want to move forward, but it changes everything. 2-0 so much different, especially at halftime. So
yeah, it would have been a position of comfort at the end, Jeff. We have ended up chasing shadows and being really stressed in the second half, when it could have been so much easier.
Everton does not make life easy for its fans. That's just, it's always been us. Like, I'm actually 27, but this is what I look like because of Everton. Seriously though, it's us getting decisions is never going to be the way things happen. It's never been the way. Like, we always get screwed over by the refs. If there's a 50-50 decision to be made, we always fall on the wrong side of it. It's always that way. Like, if there's a 50-50 in favour of the other team, they get the decisions. If it's 50-50, then it's our way. It doesn't come our way. It has to be absolutely stonewall and obvious that, for the decisions to be given to us, and that might seem sour grapes, or it might seem a bit like, Everton bias, but I've just been watching football a very long time. It's always been this way. Like, we do not get the rubs of the green in terms of decisions because the refs hate us. That is the way it is. So we always have to come up against 13 men when we play. And that's just the way it is. But I'm just really happy that I actually predicted a win for once, and we did. So I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased for Dwight McNeil, who has taken a lot of stick since he first signed, but he's starting to show his value and show his worth. We'll get into some of the players overall. Even though the second half was a struggle, I still think we deserve to win that game because they didn't really create a whole lot. They put pressure on us, but I don't think they created an awful lot of clear-cut chances. Pickford made one decent save, but apart from that, I thought it was pretty good. It was just stressful because we needed those 3 points. Yeah. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, that's going to be the same for every single game till the end of the season, and it has been almost for pretty much since we know it. I've just popped in all the scores. If you just come out of Goodison or you're just connecting now, sorry if you're planning to watch the non-Gary Lineker match of the day later, but they're the scores. I'm going to keep them ticking by because there's some good ones in there. Generally, I think things went quite well, but forget the other games, because ultimately, if Everton win their games, they'll be finishing 9th or 10th. They won't be finishing at the bottom. So we just need to focus on our own game. And Jeff makes a good point there. Everton don't
Holy crap, we're 15th.
Yeah, we're 15th. We're 15th. Actually, let's go live outside Goodison Park. I think Mabsy's there. Mabsy, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I've just been listening to all your comments. Welcome on board, Chris.
Thanks, mate.
So, yeah, no problems, pal. Absolutely, from start to finish, I can't believe we defended a lead for like 89 minutes. Get that, like 89 minutes we defended the lead. Just think about that. How mad is that? Right? Absolutely
mad. Amazing.
Just like, as I say,
what was the crowd like, Mabsy? It sounded very vocal.
Honestly, it was. Everyone was up for it. You know what? They brought back the siren today. They brought back the siren, and to me, that may sound like a really petty thing, but it was just like, what the fuck? Sorry to swear, but it's like, wow. Just like, it's back. It got the crowd lifted from 1 to 90. Absolutely fantastic. I can't fault them. That's just just amazing.
And that's what
yeah,
we needed, isn't it? Especially in the second half, you look like the players come out with nerves for about 15, 20 minutes, and you really felt the energy of the crowd kind of getting behind them a little bit. I mean, they looked, I hate to use the term scared, but they really did. It was just such on the back foot for the first 20, 25 minutes of the second half.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we dug in. You know, we usually capitulate. You know what I mean? We usually capitulate, and you know what? You know, Anana was okay. He wasn't the best, but he was trying to get the crowd up for it. You know, at the park end and then at the Gladys Street, he was just trying to raise us. You know, that's Pickford again. Phenomenal. This absolutely with his saves. He's a phenomenal keeper. Just those saves today kept us in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The big chance for them was Ethan Pinnock.
Yeah.
His header was cleared off the line by McNeil. Also, Kevin Shady basically headed wide in the far post.
Yeah.
And Brentford had come into this game in a lot of form. And it's going to be confidence now, surely, till the end of the season. It's certainly at home, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of, you know, the form under Dyche has been 3 wins out of 4, unless I'm statistically very wrong here.
No, you're absolutely right. All 1-0s, if I remember correctly, as well. And honestly, and again, back to the Villa, we could have had one there as well. I hate to play the coulda, woulda, shoulda game, but it's not like the Villa performance was dreadful. Of course, you give up the penalty, you hang your heads a bit, but other than that, you know, for the first half, absolutely could have had a couple. Mopé has one cleared off the line as well. Home form has been significantly better.
I just think I do. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I just feel that. No, absolutely. Dyche just being a breath of fresh air. You know what? If we keep winning 1-0s all to the end of the season, I'm not bothered.
No, of course
I'm really not bothered at all.
No.
You know, it's about staying up this season again. You know, we are where we are. We've just got to get the fans have just got to be, and we keep saying it, and they are. You know, I saw Gordon, the cheeky so-and-so, yesterday really annoyed me. You know, saying he took credit for staying. Honestly, ridiculous. It was the fans, Pickford and Richarlison kept us up, not him. Honestly, just crazy. But yeah, sorry, let's get back to it.
Thanks, Mabsy. And don't forget, Everton haven't got the easiest next 3 games. We've got Chelsea away next Saturday. That's at 5:30. Spurs at home, and then Man U away. So it's not exactly going to be easy in the next 3. But we tend to play a little bit better sometimes when we aren't the favourites and when we're not expected to win. We saw that against Arsenal. We need a bit more of that coming up in these 3 games.
Yeah. I mean, this was never going to be easy. The position that Dyche took over, you know, a lot of fans, including me, were fearing the worst. And you know, it's still so close. But I feel that if we'd have kept with Frank Lampard, we would definitely be getting and probably finishing bottom of the league. And I feel that Dyche has brought organisation. He's brought a level of fight to us that we didn't have before. And I just think that bringing him in has given us a good chance of staying up. And you know, 3 wins out of 4 at home, that's proof of the pudding. I don't think did Lampard even get 3 wins at home all season before he went. I think maybe he got 3 wins.
3 out of 19. He got 3 out of 19.
He got 3 wins.
Exactly.
And one was away to Southampton.
Yeah.
So basically, we've played 5-6 games under Sean Dyche, and we've got 10 points. That's massive. That's massive.
It is.
That's massive. 2 points a game. That's an average 2 points a game, which is more than good enough to keep us up. Now, obviously, we've got tough games coming up, but you know, you can't argue with results. Results are all that matter, and it's 9 points at home and a draw away from home. That could have been a win, and we could have had 12. That's massive. Dyche clearly knows what he's doing, and that gives me some confidence that we're gonna have at least a 50-50 shot of staying up. You know, at least a 50-50 shot, and it's in our hands. And that's all we could have asked for when Dyche came in. Is just like letting our hands are not down to all people, and that's what he's done. And so credit to him, and credit to the players as well for coming on board with what he's trying to do. So yeah, credit all round.
Well, I agree,
is one
Jeff.
of our
And I
regulars.
think
Says 4 points out of next 3 would be good. We'll come on to the next 3 fixtures in a minute. We're just going to focus on this game for now. Sorry, Mavsy, carry on.
Yeah.
So all I was just going to say is that it just makes you wonder if we'd sacked Lampard after Bournemouth. Having that 5 weeks, having those 5 weeks could have been very crucial. It does make you think. And obviously, you can't change history. We'll never know. But this, as I say, just makes you think.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we'd done it a bit
No,
sooner, then we might
agree
more
totally.
be resting.
But I was calling for him to get. Yeah.
It's a funny game, football. Mabsy, I'm going to take you out now because we're going to have a look at some stats from the game.
Sounds.
We'll keep you there just in case we do want to bring you in.
Cheers, Mabs.
Cheers, Mabsy. This was a game that almost the stats don't tell any lies. It wasn't the easiest game. And basically, Brentford had 2/3 of the ball. That's what it boiled down to. So let's take a look, guys. I mean, possession at home, 33%. It is low. It is acceptable, though, if you come out 1-0. So, it's not a problem. But they at least Everton had some shots on goal today.
Well, I don't want to buy too much into that number, only because if you go back, you watch the first half. I'd be interested to see if there was a stat for quality possession. Everton certainly had much more of that in the first half. Second half, maybe not so much, but the 33 number doesn't really, like you said, it doesn't bother me as much because the first half we just absolutely were all over Brentford.
And we have seen that, Chris, under Dyche and in some of the other successful matches where we've actually hardly had any of the ball. I think Arsenal at home was a similar story from memory.
Thing, absolutely.
We basically didn't have anything. And, I'm in a much better mood than I was when I came out of the Emirates the other day.
Yeah.
I've not left early many games in my life, but that was certainly one.
No, that was a rough one.
But guys, I mean, yes, it's home and away, but there is an element of inconsistency in the performances that we should really pick out here. Is some games we look absolutely dog awful, and then other games we look like we're really in it and can definitely scrape a win like this. Why is it so inconsistent?
Well,
just the fact that it's away from home v home.
I would love to have the answer to that question, quite honestly, because you wouldn't think just playing on a different ground would rattle the players that much. And to be fair, the last away match wasn't that way. I felt that they were up for it much of that game. I still think, not to dwell on this or harp on it too much, I still think with the proper subs, we do win that game against Forest. I think the players were up for it, and they were just tired, quite frankly. I think Dyche got it right today with the subs, and I know a lot of folks are going to have some opinions on Tom Davis. When Tom Davis came on for Onana, I thought that was the right move. Onana was dreadful in the second half, in my opinion. Davis coming on, a little bit of fresh legs, had a few mistakes early, didn't want to see that. But fast forward to the next one, you bring Mopé on for Gray. Thought that was a fantastic sub. Thought the timing was right, and then finally bringing on another defender for Iwobi. I thought he got that one right, and I thought that was a big part of why we won today. I really do.
Yeah, Mykolenko, when he came on, actually, even though it was very late on, what was the guy who was tearing us a new one? I can't remember the guy's name, the Brentford player.
Well, we had but Mbumo in particular was
that one. Yeah, because I think that's what he brought him on for. That's why he took Iwobi off, because Iwobi was getting turned all over the place, and he brought Mykolenko on. Basically, we just watch that guy, just stop him, and I think he kind of did a decent job of that, stopping them getting clear possession all the time, because they were all over us, and it just seemed a matter of time until they scored. But yeah, it's been really disappointing recently. He has. He was. He should have scored, like an open goal in the first half. He should have scored. Gave the ball away a lot, but then he does something really brilliant, and he wins the ball back, and he gets us going. And it's this, when you're saying why is it that we're sometimes good and sometimes bad? I think the simple truth, the simple answer is that we've got players who are inconsistent and still have paper-thin confidence. So, you're not going to get a consistent level of performance with lower quality players that have been through the mill for the last couple of years. I mean, we survived by the skin of our teeth last year. We're in and around the relegation spots. So, this is what's going to happen to a team that's at the lower end of the table is you're going to struggle. You're going to have confidence issues. You're going to make mistakes. And that's just a fact of life. So it's a case of just minimizing the mistakes, maximize the opportunities, and fight. And that's all you can ask for. And if that's what we see, a team that is inconsistent, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but fights every single game and gives everything, even though they don't have the required quality, I can live with that. I can live with that. I can always, we've had poor teams over the years, and fight has got us through. Fight has kept us in this league for a long time. And fight is what will get us through now. Fight and the atmosphere as well, and the fans.
Here's the league table. We don't normally like to look at it. I've cut it off at Crystal Palace because I don't think that anyone above that is in real danger, at least at the moment, although it is a funny day and a funny league, funny season all round, really. Chelsea could have easily wobbled. They've been all over the place, but they've done the business for Everton today, beating Leicester by 3-1. That enabled Everton to lift themselves up to 15th, a point ahead of the Foxes. And Bournemouth, of course, didn't do anyone any favours on the one day when maybe Everton fans might have had a bit of an eye on at least a draw there and stopping Liverpool. It ended up being one of those very, very rare days where Everton win and Liverpool lose. You can count them on the fingers of one hand in the last 5 years or so. Literally, they don't have to.
Yeah.
They're almost a bit like a four-leaf clover. Southampton have shown form, but they're not that far behind. It's a very close bottom half. Now, where does this leave us? Basically, the next 3 games are as hard as they're probably going to get, aren't they, Chris? I mean, it's not going to be an easy ride, but it's kind of status quo. We can't really take our eye off the ball. It's confidence, but we can't really be looking at this table going, "Oh, we're in safety land," because we're not.
No, of course not. And it's never, Chelsea seemed to have finally got it right in the last couple of weeks, and obviously Stamford Bridge never an easy place to play. We did get a point there last season with a youth team, pretty much, if you like. Obviously that has no bearing on this season, but just the point being, at least a lot of the lads were there. They know that they can go into there and at least come out with a draw. We'll see how it is. Obviously, I actually felt before this match, I felt a decent confidence at home to Spurs, only because you never know what Spurs team's going to turn up, especially this year. I would hate to be a betting man betting on Tottenham every week, because you just absolutely have to be tearing your hair out or whatever's left of it, because you never know what Spurs team you're going to get. Obviously, we struggled at Old Trafford as well, and at this point, quite honestly, any away match is just going to be tough. So it's not going to get any easier. I'll go in with a bit of optimism now coming off of this, but your guess is as good as mine, because we haven't been able to really string 2 good matches together. You could argue our last 2 have been the best really 2-match stretch under Dyche, or really 2-match stretch of the season, quite honestly.
But if we take away the Arsenal game, actually, Chris, I mean, the Arsenal game except it's quite pretty decent form. I mean, that was kind of the anomaly. Yes, we've gone to Anfield and put in a stinker of a performance. But ultimately, if you take away that Arsenal game, you would say this is top form.
I would even just take away the second half. I mean, I know the end of the first half was bad against Arsenal, but the first 40 minutes, we were up for that at least.
Yep.
I would honestly rather the entire, I know it was 4-0 to 2-0, but I would rather the entire Arsenal performance compared to the Derby game. That was the worst match I've seen Everton play in a long time.
Yeah, they didn't show up. Wolves are the lowest scoring side in the league now. Everton did have that honour until today. None of these teams look particularly fantastic, but they don't also look that awful. It seems like teams at the bottom are picking up a lot of points, Jeff.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, but I think it's not a case of they're all picking up a lot of points. It's that they're ticking over. So they might have 2 bad games and then 1 good game. And it's the cumulative thing, isn't it? But finally, we're on that same kind of train as them, whereas where before we were just losing, and so even if they only won one game out of three, they were getting 3 points on us all the time. So that's why we sort of were slipping and slipping. But now we're sort of picking up points, and like I say, that's the key is that we're starting to pick up consistent points now. So, like I said, that's 10 points since Dyche arrived out of a possible whatever it is, 18 or something. And that's the best form we've had all season. Like, it's not even close. That's the best form we've had all season. So yeah, it's gonna be a nightmare. It's not gonna be fun. It's not necessarily gonna be pleasant to watch. And I may die before the end of the season from stress. But this is how it's going to be, and we're just going to have to get used to the fact that that it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be tough. It's going to be scrappy. But we've got a chance. We've got a chance now, and we're in it with everyone else. And we've got some big home games that we can get points from. So yeah, home form is going to be key as always. We need probably 4 wins and then maybe a couple of draws. And
last year 37 points was enough, so that's indicating that we would probably need about that. But you know what? I'm not on the evidence of today. I think we can get most of our points from home. That Spurs game, point out, is irrespective of what happens at Chelsea. It's a bit of a bogey game. I think I'd take a draw right now, but the way Chelsea's in is, you just never know. But I would say that Man United game, we should play a bit different to how we played them earlier on in the season in the FA Cup. Simply because Dyche has a lot of more tactical nous, and he'll set them up in the right way so they won't get mauled.
Which, by the way, that cup tie wasn't our worst match of the season by any stretch of the imagination.
Actually played pretty well in it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Pretty well. We from memory. Yeah, you're right. It was 2-0, right?
No, 2-1, and we've had a Gray goal disallowed in the second half as well. Either it was a Gray goal or Gray crossed the DCL, whichever the case it was. We had a goal disallowed in the second half, an equalizer, and so we were fully in that match.
Yeah, it was a Friday night. It was on the BBC here, and I think that seems like such a long time ago this season.
I know, right? No kidding.
We've had to go through so much stress and trauma from watching Everton at home and away. Particularly away, because away I just don't expect us to win. Yeah. But all over, we were dreadful. The World Cup just came at that funny time, and then probably should have got rid of Lampard in hindsight. But anyway, here we are. This looks like we could be on to 1 to 2 points a game, which is just a far cry from where we were.
It's amazing how quickly it changes from week to week, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's also fine margins, guys. Just the one goal in a lot of these games. I think from Eastern Europe, Ryan may be joining us from Prague. Ryan,
yes.
Look at that hair. Would you look at that hair? My goodness gracious.
Ryan, you put yourself in an electric
nice little quiff up there.
That's class. Listen, I didn't see much of the game, I'm not going to lie. I saw the second half and thought, how the hell did we win that? I mean, I'm probably going to chat shit because I've got no context of the actual game or the commentary and stuff. But Brentford were throwing absolutely everything at us, getting the ball in the box, running us ragged. But we held on. The commitment was there, the passion was there, everything we could expect. And we should trademark that result.
Can someone please get me a screen grab of that?
Of that electrocution.
There's something about Mary hairdo, like it's hilarious.
Look at this. Celebrated with baby Guinness shot and an ice cream. Made up.
Nice.
Enjoy.
Main thing, Ryan, is the result. Go and enjoy it.
What?
Nice one. Cheers, Ryan.
Main thing is the result.
Bye.
You can go and enjoy it now. Thanks for joining.
Going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Nice.
That's right.
All right, mate.
The younger brother from Prague. So let's go back to the game. There's loads of comments coming in. Lots of lots of Blues who watch this regularly, but if you've just joined us for the first time, we have around 2,000 followers. Please tell your mates, tell your cats, uncles, dogs, sisters, parrots. Put the word out because we want to get as many people as possible.
I had faith too today, Kev.
Yeah, where do we start? Let's go back through the game. We spoke in the first half about the goal and how Everton had that unfortunate, debatable VAR. Chris, is there anything else that you picked out in the first half that you want to bring up?
I mean, the missed chances, obviously. I mean, you've got. I don't know what happened with Keane's header. I mean, he basically just heads it to the corner. You've got that one, and then obviously Jeff mentioned Onana's chance as well. You have to get your foot over the ball in that situation. A little bit off balance, but still, you're from about 9-10 yards out, whatever it was. Easily could have. It was 2-0. Could have been. Should have been 3-0, and absolutely could have been 5-0, which is unbelievable. Now, having said that, you have Tony miss a chance at the other end as well. I believe Brentford maybe had maybe 1.5 quality chances, maybe 2 in the first half. So credit has to go both ways in that sense. But no, I really got nervous, especially seeing the beginning of the second half. I really thought it was going to come back to haunt us.
Yeah, and of course, being at home, we always had the faith that we could hold on if we got that first goal. So, we haven't done a lot of it, 89 minutes or something that Mamsie said. But we knew that a second goal would be an almost a weird position.
Right.
So when we went into the break, I personally just put the kettle on and thought a bit more of the same. Try and see if we can keep a bit of a low block. But Brentford came out storming. I mean, their performance from first to second half I thought was markedly different. Particularly in the way that they put the ball about. And Everton, it felt like we were just chasing shadows for most of that second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is sometimes where sometimes it's easy to criticize our own players or our own team. Sometimes you just have to admit that Brentford are a really good side. They're better than us at the moment. They will have been disappointed with the first half performance. They've probably got a rocket off their manager, who I really rate highly. I think he's one of the best managers in the league. And they came out, they're defending a 12-match unbeaten run. They were bound to come out and come at us. And, we were hanging on because, like I said, realistically, I think energy, impetus, the crowd, an early goal, it gave us confidence and it got us through to half-time. But once the second half kicked off, we were second best. We were slow. But that's, as much down to the quality of Brentford and their form and their confidence being much higher than ours. And so it was a backs to the wall job, and it really was. But, I saw a comment a moment ago, which was, giving praise to Michael Keane. Keane and Tarkowski, absolute Trojans of a performance. Maybe they missed one or two, but overall they were everywhere. Coleman, fantastic. Godfrey, not the best footballer in the world, but made some really important challenges. I think
playing out of position
into
the mid. Had to come back.
I thought Godfrey was fine today, especially in the first half. That's one of the better halves I've seen Godfrey play, especially in the attack. Second half maybe caught out just a bit, but I thought Godfrey was sound. Yeah,
I thought Idrissa, he started to look back to his best again the last couple of performances. He's I don't know what it is, but he's suddenly looking like he knows what he's doing again. Maybe his job's been simplified. He was all over the place today. And McNeil, he has improved out of all recognition since Sean Dyche arrived. He knows what he's doing. He's still got the problem of who to cross to because there's no one there sometimes. So, sometimes he has to go down the line and double back into and stuff like that. But he's winning free kicks, he's winning corners, he's getting us up the pitch, and that's the most important thing. He's getting us up the pitch, taking pressure off our team, and so you're starting to see some players lifting the levels and performing in a more consistent basis. So yeah, I'm really happy with the result. It was a stressful second half to watch, but yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that.
McNeil is he's like a man completely different to how he was. It's almost like we signed a new player, isn't it? Chris, what do you make of McNeil's performances since Dyche came in?
Today in particular, man of the match for me. But I mean, it's almost like everything we were saying about Iwobi last season is what we're saying about McNeil this season right now, right? I mean, he's touched on it spot on. He's a completely different player. He's got the confidence, and if he ever develops any sort of a right foot, he'll make the England national team. Because it still boggles my mind how everyone on the planet knows he's going to his left foot, and he still manages to get these crosses in, or still manages to earn a corner, whatever the case was. Obviously, not just for the goal. I mean, the goal is a great finish, absolute class finish, but it's not just that. It's the clearance on the line in the second half, which just absolutely it should have been 1-1. That was almost a carbon copy of the equalizer Brentford scored at their ground earlier this season. Just poor defending on a corner. Almost cost us, but McNeil just doesn't stop. He's got just full speed all the time. I don't know how he hasn't run his legs into the ground, but he just doesn't stop. And today might have been his best performance.
He just has a knack, Chris, of being able to get an extra yard to get that shot away, and I want to see more of that. And Jeff and I remember what it was like in the mid-90s. We had the likes of Andre Kanchelskis, aggressive midfielders that were able to score, and the problem is we've not really had this. For a very, very long time. You didn't see much of the midfield chipping in the 2000s and in the 2010s. It seems like a lifetime ago that we had anyone that could really just cut in and do a Limpar.
Cross the ball.
Sheedy. I mean, we're kind of missing it. I think that when Calvert-Lewin comes back, it'll be really interesting to see how it works with McNeil, because he's got a really wicked cross on him. But what is... we can say all we want, but it's very commendable what Everton have done. If we look at it objectively, without a striker, to actually grind out some points. It's gonna. You may look back and go, how it reminds me when we had Cahill. Do you remember, Chris? We had Cahill up front for quite a while, and basically we didn't have a striker, but we still managed to grind out wins and do quite well. So when we get Calvert-Lewin in, I think there'll be more shape, more threat. But where the hell is he? Sorry, guys. Where is he?
No, I said it, a couple of days ago. I said it before the game as well. I don't. No one really knows if it's an injury. Okay, give him time to heal up fully. If it's not an injury, okay, you could say the same thing to heal up fully if you like. And I'm not slagging that off. I'm just being real with it. My thought process and my mentality is I have now accepted he's just not going to be available. And if whatever the case, whatever side of the fence you're on, he's just not available. And if he happens to be available at some point, it's almost a bonus at this point. It's not even meant to sound negative. It's just more from a realistic perspective. I don't even need to necessarily know why. All I know is Dyche clearly doesn't want to talk about it anymore, other than to say, I don't mind when Dyche says we're going to roll with the players that we have here, because that's just what you have to do. The players that are here are the ones we're going to use. It's just a matter of going forward, how it's going to look. I would love DCL back. Every single Evertonian wants a fit DCL. We want him back, but it's just a matter. I've just accepted he's not going to be there, and we're going to roll with what we have. I want him
just on that. Basically, from what I've heard, DCL's back training with the team now. Back training on the grass, and I think this game just came too soon for him.
But how's he not on the bench though, Jeff?
No, he's not. He's not ready. He needs to get like a level of fitness that, and you have to put the context of the injury and the problems that he's had, and the situation Dyche is in. He wants to give him the time that he needs on the grass, actually playing, like training every day. And I think he'll bring him in when he's ready. But we have to trust, that he's going to make the right decision and choose when to bring him in. And maybe while we're picking up points and doing all right and getting results just about, then maybe that extra little bit of time to get him up to proper fitness will pay us dividends, in the stretch, as you would call it in America. The home stretch of the game is, he could be the vital player again. And so,
I think you're both right. I think it's good to sort of work on almost it's a worst case scenario, but it's not really, because we've proven that we can put 3 attacking midfielders up front, and then we can still probably look a little bit more dangerous in a way if we get the right combination of those. I think actually having Damari Gray and a little bit of pace there, it just seems a bit better than what we
I hope so, Kev.
I wanted to ask this, Stevie, because the last maybe 3 or 4 weeks, everyone's been asking, where's James Garner? I saw a comment earlier that asked the same. I'm curious if the Davis sub happens because do you think Deitch just didn't? I mean, you'd like to, let's just say Garner's fit. Do you think Deitch just didn't want to put Garner in the pressure situation of being down 1-0 for his first minutes in however many months? Or how do you think he viewed that?
I think so. I don't think it's a game you bring James Garner into it at that point.
No, and do you know about Garner? Do you know about Onana's injury as well?
Oh, I mean, I've heard he's playing with the niggle, but I didn't know.
No. Like, his eye was out here.
Oh no, yeah, no, I saw that
when he came off. Yeah, so it was one of those where it's probably a like for like type situation. You bring on someone experienced, especially in a situation where you're under pressure. I think Garner coming on as a sub is something you do maybe if you're 2-0 up. Because again, he's someone who's been in and out with injury for the whole time he's been here. So I think he's just going with people he trusts. He's not. If you actually look at Sean Dyche's history as a manager, he's not a big fan of making a lot of substitutions. He's never done it. He'll make 1 or 2 if he has to. But generally, he likes to stick with the team that he's got because he knows what everyone's doing. And if you make changes, it can. He's gone. If you make substitutions, it can sometimes interrupt the flow of the game. So I think I think if it's working, he likes to stick with it as much as he can. And I think that's just a Dyche thing, that he doesn't like making a lot of changes unless he has to.
No, and it's always risk, isn't it?
Yeah.
So with Tom Davis, he comes in those games, we've seen it before, where he sort of sits back, socks roll down, and are you getting fuzz on the line?
Go on, try speaking.
Now he's muted. Yeah,
he's gone, hasn't he? It's not just me. Everyone's got bad internet. Oh my god. He's having issues. Are you there, son?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, all good. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen it before with Tom Davis, where he comes on and Everton are sort of in a park the bus end of match mode, especially at home. We've seen it a lot. We're 1-0 up. His socks are rolled down. There's almost something perversely iconic about it. And it's just like, we just try and counter a little bit, but it's very much about protecting. He is that pawn in front of the ruck and the knight there, and it's just kind of just a question of putting up a wall. Whereas James Garner's got a lot of guile, good quality, but he's got to be coming in when we need that type of approach. And it just wasn't the right situation for him, but I look forward to seeing more of him.
Well, yeah, me too. I hope we're not waiting for a 2-0 lead to get Garner on, because we might just be waiting for a bit.
True.
It's been linked with some strikers. Obviously, we can't bring any now. The one that stood my eye was Tammy Abraham. Would you guys have him? We'd have him right now, surely.
From a quality perspective, of course.
Have you seen the price tag?
20, was it?
No, it's like 75 million.
75 million they said they want for him. So that ain't happening.
No stop.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, Blues.
I just think that, like, I mean, obviously, I want the club to be sorting this out in the background and working on it, but it's just not something I want to even entertain the subject of now, because if we get rid of it, that affects the market of whether we can go and buy somebody or not, because certain players won't come to us if we're in the lower division, you know what I mean? But if we stay up, then I think, we're in a position where if we bring somebody in, I think that some of the fundamentals are being put in place now, and we've got certain players who are quite decent. I don't think it would take a lot to fix us and turn us into, if not, I'm not going to say that we're going to jump, into sort of like Newcastle did, but it only takes one or two solid additions in attacking areas, and we would go from being a struggling side to being a very safe mid-table side quite easily, in my opinion. Especially like the home form. If we get consistent home form, that puts you in a safe mid-table position, no probs. And a couple of regular goal scorers can make a huge, huge difference. Because I think midfield, we've got some quality. The defence is much better organised. We've got a good keeper. We've got some good young players to come in. So I don't think we're far off, but, we've just got to get through this season before we really start having that conversation, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be getting through the season. I just saw it come up, and I thought that was other than all the Lineker news, which is kind of front and back pages at the moment. Maybe they're a bit short of news, but Chris, in case you missed it, Match of the Day presenter over here, Gary Lineker, is not presenting, and no one's presenting.
I've been following it closely. It's quite interesting what's going on, especially.
I'm in solidarity with Lineker. Yeah. So we don't want to stay. We don't want to get banned from the BBC. So we'll probably stay neutral with the comments and stick to the Everton game. Lots of Blues who've just arrived back have been commenting, have been coming in. If you just got in from Goodison, what did you make of the atmosphere today? Did you enjoy the game? Maybe we'll get one or two of our regulars on. We do have members of our team who weren't able to, were snowed in or in Prague. Guys, what did you think of Michael Keane's performance today? I mean, the guy's, he's had to wait on the sidelines for a long time. And, in the last few games, he's been called upon. He's obviously responds well to playing under Dyche, because he looks a bit like a fish out of water under Lampard. We didn't get many games, to be fair, but the guy's kind of putting in a shift now.
Well, he looked up for it. That's the thing. I know he had that miss in the first half that I spoke about, and I wasn't trying to harp on that because other than that, from a defensive perspective, I thought he played great. Nothing stupid, especially in the box. Fighting for all the balls, drew a couple fouls, made the clearances when he needed to, made the smart play, getting it out when he needed to. And again, that sounds so simple and it sounds so elementary, but sometimes that's all you need. And today was just one of those days. No real glaring mistakes from Keane. I thought he had a great match, best of the season for sure, and probably best in a while. So I was happy with it. And if he and Tarkowski are developing this chemistry, someone asked me about Mina before the match. I don't know what to make of Mina. I have no idea why he's not playing, if it's a fitness thing, if it's an attitude thing, whatever it is. But if Keane and Tarkowski have this chemistry and it works, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Yerry Mina, but he's injury prone, and it's we don't know. I mean, the Calvert-Lewin thing, the whole thing is getting speculative.
Exactly. You could speculate about so many of them. That's the crazy.
I just don't think it's worth it. I think with Calvert-Lewin, it kind of told a bit of a story that he didn't make the bench, because I thought he was back in training. But, if he can't make that bench, I mean, we're talking the bench.
Nice one, Jack. Nice one, Jack. Ricks, thanks for sharing that one.
but maybe he's just giving Calvert-Lewin another game and then saying we're fit for the bench. I don't know. I expected him to be on the bench today. I'm very disappointed.
No, I agree, especially given the ones that you actually saw on the bench. Although, I mean, not that the bench was too, I guess, striking. A few defenders, obviously, you still have Cody on the bench. Honestly, I thought Cody was going to be the extra defender that they might bring on, but it ended up being Mikalenko instead.
We struggle to actually fill the bench sometimes, so it's very weird. But maybe it was going to be a big risk. And actually, we just don't know what Dyche is thinking. Maybe he's thinking these three big games, they're all big. but particularly huge games, 2 away from home at Man United and Chelsea. You need the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin to lead the line, otherwise we're going to be stuck in our own half for the entire game.
Yeah.
You know what that could look like. So we don't know. I trust Dyche. I think he's got a lot of nous, and I'm really pleased that he's been able to do what we hoped he would do, because it was easier said than done, and basically galvanise a very, very poor Everton side. Guys, we're going to start working through some more comments, because there's so much here. Anything in particular stand out?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah, I've just been.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I've just been putting a few up on the screen. Yeah, I think someone we haven't really spoken about so far is the resurgence of the back in favour Decore. He's been so good since he got back in the side. I know he has some limitations, fair enough. I'd love to see him score a few more goals. But the dynamism and the energy of him, he's that player. We don't have many players who can just take the ball and get us up the pitch, just run with the ball and get us up the pitch. And, maybe his finished product or his final pass isn't always excellent, but having that energy in midfield and having that person who can get the ball and get us up the pitch, it takes pressure off and it puts pressure on the opponent. He might win a corner, or he might pass it and it might lead to a set piece. Or, but yeah, I think he's been like, I don't know why Lampard didn't like him or what the reason was that he wasn't getting in the side, but we look so much better since he's come back into the side, I think.
Well, the rumor was he had a bit of a dust up with Lampard in the dressing room. I believe it was after the Southampton match. Maybe he just finally had enough. I think that one was kind of a deflator to a lot of people. And I don't want it to be lost. I agree with you. Decore's been excellent since he's come back, but it also must be said today, he's got to keep his head. I mean, it's just a completely unnecessary yellow, and I don't know if it's the 64th, 65th minute, whatever it was, after a bit of a dust up with a Brentford player, but there's no reason for it. You got the lead. You're letting them make their own mistakes. Don't get involved in any kind of nonsense that could put us in a bad position. And there's a couple matches in a row where he's kind of lost his head a bit, and so you start to worry a little bit going forward. Yes, the quality's been better. Great assist to McNeil on the goal as well. He just quick turn and pass it right across.
I just put it down to him being French. He's a bit of an arse.
Well, but you don't want to see that going forward. You don't want to lose, just a silly send it off or even some sort of yellow card accumulation. Every yellow matters, and when they're just stupid and unnecessary, especially after the 5 that we had against Forest, you just hate to see that sort of thing.
We apologise if you're French the game. We have a lot of French friends and family, and we respect our.
Oh no, I love the French, but I'm just commenting on the temperamental nature of the average Frenchman that I know. They tend to be quite emotional. So yeah, I'm that's not necessarily a criticism. It's just a comment.
Dwight McNeils been crossing the ball, as all says, always a threat. But there were no crosses from Iwobi, who was a bit off. But we've had mixed comments about Iwobi. Some people saying he's still playing well. The guy's got a lot of energy, Iwobi. Is he in the right position, guys?
I have been clamoring for Iwobi to get back on the right for about a month now. Now, it wasn't his best performance by far. I think some people overlook that he still does take his space a little bit. But I guess off today would be the right word. Wasn't his best match of the year. Didn't have any crazy turnovers that led to massive counterattacks, except maybe early in the second half. But that was at that point where it seems like everybody was turning it over. A couple of losses of possession. I don't know if that was just shaking off the nerves, whatever it was. I thought Iwobi was fine today. I don't have any complaints about that.
Yeah. I think it's one of those where, again, you kind of have, sometimes you have to look further back to see the things. Iwobi got himself into the middle of the pitch, and I think when he did get himself into the middle of the pitch under Lampard, he felt like he was part of the show. He was the boss. He was running the show, if you know what I mean. He was in there, and it was he was kind of a fulcrum around which the team sort of functioned. And I think that since Decore's gone back in the middle, he's out on the right. And maybe he feels like he's less involved. Maybe he tries too hard sometimes. Maybe he's gone back to that guy who thinks he has to beat three men, you know, instead of sometimes making a simple decision. But, you know, I still think that having him on the right and Decore in the middle makes us a better team overall. So sometimes you have to sacrifice for the team. But I definitely think he's been less effective since Dyche came in and Decore got back into the middle, because I just think he feels like he's less involved. Maybe that's unfair.
I think you're right there, Jeff. We've been struggling to get Dyche's interview because no players or managers are doing the match of the day, but I have managed to get Dyche's interview with Sky Sports. So definitely a game.
Oh God. Is this going to be a riot?
Go. First half created 2 or 3 goal chances, deserved to be up at the second, and dealt with a lot of their threat well. Second half, they're a good side. They came at us. We didn't deal with it as well as we gave the ball away too many times. But the resilience of the side is growing. The mentality is growing. And sometimes you just have to grind out against a team that is unbeaten in goal. There are no mugs in the Premier League. And I think we've delivered a performance for 3 points.
Yeah, up them streak breaking, holding on Toffees. Woo!
Actually, disallowed goal. He said it's a surprise one to me because it's at short range. I don't think Damari has a chance to move. It just hits him. Tough call, and you like to see those go your way. It didn't, but it made him make things more comfortable in the second half, which is pretty much what we spoke about earlier. Guys, we're just going to wrap up in a few minutes, but any final closing thoughts on this match? Obviously, it's a great start to the weekend, especially for you, Chris. You're a few hours behind, but for anyone that's an Everton fan, we're kind of used to having almost every weekend spoiled. Most of mine start with a blinding headache, but this one enjoy our Sundays and then sort of start preparing and looking forward to the match next Saturday. It's a slightly later kickoff at 5:30 UK time against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And guys, any closing comments? Any further thoughts, or where's your state of mind going into that Chelsea game?
Go ahead,
We're obviously in a lot better position now than we were.
Oh, okay. I mean, overall, like I said, it's hard you can't be unhappy with a win, and I think if my overall sort of summary of the situation of Everton Football Club right now is, I kind of feel like ever since David Moyes left the football club, we lost something. And we've been trying all kinds of different things to advance the club or whatever different philosophy managers and different kind of things. And it never worked. It always fell apart. We've gone through managers, and I think we finally got back to something like what we were under David Moyes, which is a hard to beat, hard working, maybe lacking in talent football team that I recognise. Like, I'm watching Everton now, and we are lacking a bit of quality, and that's something hopefully we can rectify. Hopefully DCL can come in and help, but this looks like an Everton team now. Like when we scrap and fight, and like you're saying about Decore, sometimes it's unnecessary, but I'd rather see that streak of shithousery and snidiness and scrap than what I was watching before, which was a team that would give up and quit at the first sign of trouble. I kind of feel like Sean Dyche has brought back something that has been missing for so long, and I'm really pleased to see it. And
a small sense of identity,
working class grit.
Grit.
Yeah.
And well, it was quite a grandeur end of stream summary there about the whole club. Chris,
Sorry.
is there right? Is there right? Chris, any closing comments on the club
Yeah,
or on the game?
just to
Where's your
say,
state of mind?
well, it's just, rarely, if ever, will I be upset after a win. So obviously, we're going to enjoy this one today because they have been few and far between, especially lately. But you have to carry it over. I'm a bit cautiously worried about next week, especially given our away form recently. It's just as big as all the others. It's a massive game next week. You never know how the results around us are going to go. So you have to carry over the effort. I'm with Jeff in terms of the grit, the fight, the passion that you've missed for so long. It looked like that today. And I hope it looks like it next week. I'll be curious to see the squad. But of course, you're happy with this today. You're hoping that they can, that they've turned the corner, especially given the performances the last couple of matches. But just gonna have to wait and see. But no, it's a great day to be a Blue today. So we'll enjoy it, and we'll all finally have a decent
15th.
Yeah, 15th. The highest. We cut off the Premier League table. We're kind of top of the last quarter. Anyway, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on your first post-match stream, and the win kind of stopped that off. From us, we're going to be preparing for the match against Chelsea. There'll definitely be a preview in the week, and I'm sure there'll be other comments and videos going up from today from different perspectives. And from everyone that's watched, thank you for joining us and being with us to celebrate.
Nice one. Thanks, everyone.
Onwards and upwards.
Enjoy your weekend.
Bye for now.